If a person leaves the United States of America to go live in another country, why would they keep their US bank account open instead of just taking all their money and putting it into a bank in the new country that they're going to live in? That's a good question that we have right here. Let's talk about it. So, yeah, a lot of people actually do that. Not everybody, but a lot of people do leave their US bank accounts open while they're living permanently in another country, not even planning to ever move back, even though they might visit sometimes. So, why would those people leave those bank accounts open? So, there's so many different reasons. I'm just going to kind of like rapid fire a bunch of different reasons that people have that I know about. So sometimes it's just because that US bank account is already attached to other systems and entities or apps that they use. Like if it's attached to their brokerage account, their trading account, or whatever, it might be attached to their Robinhood, their this, their that, or whatever. And they just want to keep that whole system in place, continue to trade, continue to just use that bank account and stuff like that. Some apps, when you're in a different country, you don't have access to if you are using a foreign bank account. So, like Robinhood, for example, to trade stocks or other platforms similar to that, right? A lot of them require you to have a US bank account. So, a lot of people just don't want to go through the hassle of migrating everything when they can simply just keep all of their system in place and just keep functioning as normal. And then they figure out a way to access their money that they're going to use. Maybe they wire transfer, do a international wire transfer to themselves, or maybe they're just taking out money from the ATM over there, or the many different ways. I have some other videos on that subject right there. What are some other reasons that people leave their US bank account open? Another reason that people leave their US bank accounts open is for work purposes. So maybe it's just that they already have clients that are paying them if they're self employed and they just have it set up and they're receiving payments every month or whatever, or every so often, and they just don't want to change that. So again, it is just a convenience thing. Why close it down when you can just keep it, right? Another work related thing would be because of their employer already has it on file. Maybe their employer might technically by their policy not allow them to work in another country, even though they might be fully remote. But because of tax purposes and blah, 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 their company wanting to keep things simple for them, they say, oh, you're only allowed to work in the US. But a lot of workers just use a VPN and they work abroad anyways. And, nothing really happens with that. They just keep the system in place. And then again, they just figure out a way to access their money from a US bank account. Now, there's definitely a lot of other reasons of why people leave it open. You can kind of see where we're going with this, but I do want to say this one thing. A lot of people leaving the USA, like let's say they just don't like living in the USA for X, Y, or Z reason, and they're like, I'm getting out here, I'm going to go move in another country that's going to be better for me and my family's personal circumstances. Even though they might be moving, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that, most of us are not like anti US and we're like cutting all ties with the US and, never want to have anything to do with it. We're renouncing our citizenship. Most of the time, it's not like that. Most of the time, it's as you start to like move abroad and travel more and stuff, it ends up being more of like just expanding your brain to be like, you know what, I'm going to be a more international person and I am going to use the resources that I can in various different countries around the world to my advantage. I'm going to own properties in different countries. I'm going to have businesses in different countries and stuff like that because a lot of people think, well, the governments, they're really not helping us average Joes. So, I'm just going to, live my life and do what's best for me and my family legally, but on a more international scale rather than just completely cutting all ties. Some people do completely cut all ties. There's a million different ways to live abroad and do things. It's everybody's reasons are different. But anyways, I hope that helps you understand a little bit kind of some people's reasonings of why they might leave their US bank account open. Yeah. And if you're watching this, you might really like our website. It's called Time to Go International.